Hi everyone, how you all doing? Hope you're all keeping safe out there. Today I'm finally getting around to reviewing the McFarlane Toys Batman The Dark Knight Returns Batman figure. This figure took a hell of a while to get to me due to a few shipping errors and being sent the wrong figure, and then the replacement one getting lost, then this one finally turning up with a bunch of other stuff I'd ordered unexpectedly. But yeah, anyway, this is a great figure and I've really been looking forward to getting it. And of course, as always, I picked this up from the fine folks over at Comics and Cocktails. As I said, as always, great store, great service, the occasional shipping mistake, but apart from that, just terrific people to deal with. Now this figure is a real chunky boy, isn't he? This is the Batman I think of when I think Batman, because I've never really been a big Batman fan, apart from The Dark Knight Returns, which is actually one of my favourite comic books. And just to get into the background a little bit of The Dark Knight Returns, I need to go back to the 70s and 80s, because Batman back then, in the comic books, was still pretty serious. He was a mainstay, a staple of DC Comics. And the books, as I said, quite dark, very serious. The only problem was that to most people, it's like the cultural zeitgeist, Batman never really recovered from the Adam West TV series. If you said to someone, "Oh, what do you think of Batman?" they'd quickly think of that show, which I love that show, but it's very camp, it's very psychedelic, it's very silly, it's odd. Let's put it that way, it's odd. And that was pretty much what people thought of Batman for a very long time. However, in the mid-80s, someone came along, Frank Miller, a comic book writer and artist who had made his bones with several series, most notably in my in the sphere of comic book collections where I sort of dwell. He did an amazing run with Daredevil, probably one of the best Daredevil runs of all time. And pardon me, I'm actually quite sick at the minute. I didn't want to say anything, but I'm full of flu at the moment. But anyway, come 1986, DC approach him and ask him to write a new Batman series, which he does. He does Batman The Dark Knight. Now, not The Dark Knight Returns as such, that was the name of the first book in this 4-book series, but it's now the title of the overall story is referred to as. You had The Dark Knight Returns, The Dark Knight Triumphant, I can't even remember the two. But anyway, The Dark Knight Returns is still the best title for them all, and it's the one they're all collected under nowadays. And Frank decided to write this story of a much older Bruce Wayne who had retired from being Batman, and Gotham City had, I'm not going to say devolved, that's the wrong word, but it had become more violent and a much more depressing place. Now, during all this, Batman, or Bruce Wayne, now in his late 50s, early 60s, things had gotten so bad that the part of himself that was the Batman was starting to creep back again. He saw the issues that were going on and he couldn't stay in retirement any longer. He decided to don the mantle once again, because that part of him that was Batman was crying out to take action. And it did. He attacked the criminals of Gotham once again, most notably the rise of a gang called the Mutants. Nothing to do with Marvel at all, but this weird cyberpunky-esque gang. This was all drawn by Frank Miller with his, at the time, really fantastic art. His art wavers quite a lot in quality over the years, shall we say, but this was some of his best. And Batman took on the mutant gang. He did actually eventually take them over and made them into like a crime fighting thing, but he took on the mutant gang, defeated their leader, and it was a pretty, I'm not going to say standard Batman story, but it was a superhero story on the surface. But Miller also looked into the political ideas of Batman, showing a lot of his own very interesting political views, but showing how the public reacted to the return of Batman, how his return affected Gotham City, how it inspired a young Carrie Kelly to become the new Robin. It's actually one of my favourite Robins. She is amazing as Robin, but inspiring a new generation to take up vigilantism, because a lot of the old heroes had either retired or been forced to retire by the government. It also brought back the Joker, who had gone into retirement himself. Without Batman around, he'd kind of lost the will as such, and when Batman returned, he returned as well. And this inevitably led to a final confrontation between the two. But that was a lot of interesting Batman stuff. And most notably, actually, I think a lot of people, when they think of this series, think of Superman at the time in this story was a government stooge as such. He was working for the US government against foreign powers. The Cold War was still going on in the time frame of this book. So he was over in Russia quite a bit. What's the correct term? Still quite relevant today, shall we say. But because Batman had been a thorn in the government side and kind of wasn't going with the message they wanted, they sent Superman over to deal with him, which led to a fantastic fight between the two. One of the only good things to come out of the Batman vs Superman movie was they tried to recreate this fight okay-ish, apart from the ending, but they had this iconic fight in the comic books, which is... I'm not going to spoil the ending of it if you don't know what it is, but it's a really great thing to read and to experience the spectacle of in the book. And there have been sequels to The Dark Knight Returns, as well as prequels actually, by Frank Miller. They are of varying quality. I think like Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, is probably the best of them, because Frank took very much a back seat and let other people draw and write it. But they're all part of the same universe as such, the Millerverse, shall we say. They all have their own pros and cons, and I definitely think they are worth a read, just to help you better appreciate maybe the universe of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight. Because, like, as I say, this is the Batman I think of, this large, oversized man, this titan of a human being, but still a human being. Like in these books, he's still an old man. He is not frail as such, but he's feeling his age. But still, his will to fight keeps him going, and that leads us to this figure, this fantastically sculpted figure. As I say, he's got some. It shows the heft, the chunk, the muscularity, the imposing size of Frank Miller's Batman. And this is all bespoke. Just with most McFarlane things, actually, it's all bespoke sculpting with some really fantastic detailing, like the wrinkles in the cloth, the cape which is swept back. It's not obtrusive, it's not swaying to one side or the other, it's very neutral, but it still has a lot of dynamicism to it when you see all the folds in it. That big square-jawed Frank Miller Batman head with the scowl, it is just fantastic. The black, grey, the brown, it's all very simple colours, but they still pop against each other. That utility belt, it's not the yellow one you think of when you think of Batman, the little streamlined thing. No, this is a big, thick belt full of pouches filled with God knows what. As I say, that face sculpt and the body sculpt is just... I love it. As I say, this is the design of Batman I've always loved. This Frank Miller, large, powerful, built Batman, transferred brilliantly to plastic. And like, it's not a statue either, it's an actual action figure. It has great articulation, some that most McFarlane figures don't even have. Like, it's got the butterflied shoulder joints with the universal joints then connected to them. It only has single jointed elbows, but I think that's more to keep the sculpt and keep the design fluid, to not break up the sculpt of the design, should I say. But you get a decent range of motion out of them. Ball jointed and universal wrists, 2 joints in the diaphragm and waist that are all both ball joints, great articulation there. The universal thigh joints work fantastically. He also has upper thigh rotations, dedicated cut ones, which I've never seen on any other McFarlane figure, I don't think. That's astounding. That's something I've always wanted McFarlane to do more of, and I kind of hope they do it with more figures. Double jointed knees, that universal ball jointed ankles and toe articulation that McFarlane is fond of doing. It's all a fantastic amount of articulation. It maybe doesn't have all the range you would really want, possibly in the legs. The legs are quite limited, just due to the sculpt and the actual design of the Batman costume, shall I say. Or the thickness of the figure restricts his movement slightly. But I've never really wanted to get him into a pose I couldn't get him into, especially with the stand he comes with, because all McFarlane figures come with a stand. Putting that into the bottom of his feet, it really helps him balance. You get some very nice, dynamic, powerful poses out of it. And as I say, he comes with that stand. He comes with a few other accessories as well. He comes packaged with a pair of clenched fists, quite apropos for the Frank Miller Batman. He also comes with a pair of open hands, or should I say, open gripping hands, should I say. They're okay. They come on and off quite easily. They're easy to swap. They're very tight. I had to use a lot of hot water on them just to open them up a little bit to actually slide things in and out. But the main thing you'll be putting with them is he comes with a batarang on a rope. It's a large length of rope which is then sculpted to look like it's been looped over in his hands. Because in the comic book, or in the Dark Knight book, shall I say, he doesn't really have a grappling gun as such. He throws the batarang with a rope attached to it and uses it like that. And this is a great representation of how it looks in the comic book, and it's a fantastic little accessory, but it's so characterful for the Frank Miller Batman. And this isn't even the only the Dark Knight Returns figure we're getting. This is only part of a wave, because the other accessory he comes with is part of a Build-A-Figure. Now this wave, the Build-A-Figure is actually a horse, because in the actual book itself there's a point where Batman rides horses through Gotham. I'm not going to spoil why, but this 4-figure wave, each figure comes with the parts to make the horse he rides. And it's a 4-figure wave. I will definitely be getting the Superman, because the Superman looks fantastic, and yet again, it's the Superman I think of when I think DC Comics. It comes with the wave also has the Carrie Kelly Robin. Yeah, another fantastic looking figure, of probably my favourite Robin. And the Joker, which is a very stylised Joker, which I'll probably pick up. Yeah, I'm actually going to pick it up, yeah. I was umming and ahhing because the portrayal of the Joker in this book is interesting, shall we say. But yeah, I'm going to have to get it. There's also a solo release of Batman wearing the armour he wears to fight Superman in the comic. That's a really nice chunky figure. I've heard some mixed reviews on it, but I like the look of it. I think there's also a 2-pack you can get, which is a slightly bluer version of this figure, which is a bit more comic book accurate in terms of colours, and a version of Superman. I think it's the same version actually from this wave. I'm umming and ahhing about getting them because they don't come with all the accessories the individual releases do, and I'm not overly fussed about having the slight colour changes between the two Batman armours. I may end up getting it. At this point, I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. This is a fantastic figure that I highly recommend. I'm just going to compare him now to a few others in my collection. Up first is the last McFarlane DC figure I reviewed, Lobo. They look really, really great together. Batman's almost as thick in the body as Lobo is, and Lobo is meant to be a giant alien. Yet they both work really well together. Here he is with another McFarlane figure in my collection, Spawn, which is quite ironic because there's actually a Spawn Batman comic written by Frank Miller, which is supposedly within the continuity of his own Batman universe, so that's an interesting thing. So these two can be paired together really well. Here he is with the only other Batman in my collection, the Batman Who Laughs from McFarlane Toys. They are... I actually do like to look at them together. I think there's maybe a panel or a page on the same... together. I think there's like a weird thing where a bunch of Batman or Batmen from different dimensions are brought in to fight the Batman Who Laughs and his evil Batmen. And I think the Frank Miller Batman is one of those that gets brought in, but either way, they both look great together. Here he is with a Marvel Legends figure, the black suited Spider-Man, the retro one, because both of these guys had a dark reimagining in the 80s, shall we say, with Spider-Man getting this black costume. But you can see like the sheer size of him compared to your average Marvel Legends figure. And here he is with Marvel's version of Batman, shall we say. But a lot of people say he's Marvel's Batman. I agree slightly, but here he is with the Moon Knight figure. Yeah, again, he's so massive compared to a normal Marvel Legends, it's ridiculous. Well, yeah, that's it. That's it for my view of the figure. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I can't think of anything I would have done differently with it. The only thing I wish is that they'll re-release this figure with the blue, with grey, blue, and the yellow and black Batman symbol on the front, because he wore this blue and grey costume earlier on in the book. I know people like Mafex have released the figure, or released their figures with the blue and the yellow and the grey. I really hope McFarlane re-releases this figure with like a differently sculpted chest, so it has that yellow and black bat on it. But that's the only thing I can really ask. When the only thing I can ask about a figure is, can I please buy it again? You know it's a damn good figure. And this really is a really, really damn good figure. Well, that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below. And if you've not subscribed already, please subscribe for more of this, hopefully getting slightly better than mediocre contents. And until next time, folks, I want you all to stay safe, stay sane, and keep on rolling. And I'll see you all next time. Ta-da!